Pay attention to what I'm going to tell you now. There is someone, and you know who I am talking about, who is blocking your life. Someone who smiles in your presence, but roots against you behind your back. Someone who knows your plans and uses them against you. Someone who, while you sleep, is articulating against everything you have built. And God will reveal the name of this person today. Not tomorrow, not a week from now. Today. At 3 in the morning, something will happen in your life that will completely change your history. And if you have reached this video, it was not by chance. You were chosen to receive this revelation. I know you are tired of fighting alone, tired of giving your best and seeing everything go wrong, tired of waking up with that tightness in your chest without knowing exactly where that anguish comes from. You work, you strive, you do your part, but it seems there is an invisible hand pushing everything backward. It seems that the more you try to advance, the heavier it becomes. And the worst part, the people around you do not see it. They think you are exaggerating. They think it is triviality, that it is a phase, that it will pass. But it does not pass. Because it is not a phase, it is an attack. Stay with me until the end of this video. Because what I am going to reveal here in the next few minutes may be the turning point you have been waiting for months, perhaps even years. I will show you who this enemy is, how they act, why God allowed this struggle until now, and what will happen at 3 o'clock in the morning when this removal begins. Before continuing, I need to ask you one thing. If this content makes sense to you, if any word touches what you are living, leave your like now. This simple gesture helps this video reach other people who are also going through this. And subscribe to the channel, activate the little bell, because what we share here changes lives, literally. Now let us get to what matters. Have you ever stopped to think why certain things simply do not work in your life? I am not talking about laziness. I'm not talking about a lack of competence. I'm talking about blocks that have no logical explanation. You do everything right, and yet the result does not come. You send a resume and no one responds. You open a business and the customers vanish. You invest in a relationship and the person simply discards you. You take care of your health and the body falls ill out of nowhere. Has this happened to you? Think of a person who is 40, 50 years old, who has already worked hard in life, who has already given up dreams to take care of the family, who swallowed insults at work, who endured humiliation in silence, and who, even after all that, still has no peace, still has no stability, still cannot lay their head on the pillow at night and feel that everything is fine. If you recognized yourself in this, pay close attention. If your answer is yes, then I need to tell you something that perhaps no one has ever had the courage to say. You are facing a hidden enemy. And no, this is not superstition. This is something that science itself already recognizes in different ways. Psychology calls it toxic relationships and emotional sabotage. Neuroscience shows how chronic stress caused by noxious people literally destroys your ability to make good decisions. Researchers from renowned universities have already proven that living with people who drain you emotionally reduces the activity of the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for planning, motivation, and mental clarity. In other words, that enemy acting against you is not only hindering your life in the spiritual field, they are harming you biologically. And in the spiritual field, the Bible is clear. In Ephesians chapter 6 verse 12, it is written that our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, and spiritual forces of evil. This means that behind that person who attacks you, there is a greater force operating. That person is merely the instrument. The true enemy is spiritual. And that is exactly why God will act in the early morning, because it is in the silence of the night that the spiritual world manifests with more intensity. But before I reveal to you how this removal will happen, you need to understand one fundamental thing. Why now? Why will God act precisely now in your life? The answer is simple. Because you have reached the limit. God observes, God waits. God allows certain struggles because they are necessary for your growth. But there is a point where the trial fulfills its purpose. And when that point arrives, God raises his hand and says, "Enough. It is over." And that moment is now in your life. Think with me. How many nights of sleep have you already lost thinking about this situation? How many times have you cried in secret, without anyone seeing? How many times have you wanted to give up on everything? God saw each of those nights, every tear, every sigh, every prayer made in despair, and he did not forget any of them. He was only waiting for the right time, and the right time is now. There is an interesting phenomenon that science documents called the positive breaking point. It is when a situation of extreme stress generates a profound transformation in the person. Psychologists call this post-traumatic growth. Studies show that people who go through intense adversities and find meaning in them, whether through faith or self-knowledge, develop a resilience far superior to the average. They do not just recover, they become stronger than they were before the crisis. This is exactly what is happening to you. This struggle did not come to destroy you, it came to prepare you for something greater. And the removal of this enemy is the sign that the preparation is over. Now the harvest begins. Let me tell you a story that will make sense to you. A 42-year-old woman, here from the interior of Minas Gerais, wrote to me saying that she watched a video from this channel during a dawn when she could not sleep. She was destroyed. Her husband had left the house, taken part of the family's money, and was still spreading lies about her to the neighbors and to her own family. The children were confused. The business she had, a small clothing store, was sinking because she could no longer concentrate on anything. She told me that that night she felt something different, a peace that made no sense. And in the following weeks, everything changed. The ex-husband got into trouble with the law and had to return the money. The lies were unmasked. The family united around her again. The store, little by little, was recovering. She told me a phrase I never forgot. I thought I was being destroyed, but I was being liberated. If this story touched you, comment below with the word liberation. I want to see how many people are in this same moment of turning. Now let us talk about what really happens at 3 o'clock in the morning. And here I need to be very careful, because there is a lot of wrong information circulating out there. 3 in the morning is called in the Christian tradition the hour of divine mercy. It is not a magic hour. It is not a mystic hour. It is a symbolic and powerful hour. It is the moment when the world sleeps, the noise ceases, and the connection between the human and the divine intensifies. The Bible records that many of God's great interventions happened in the early morning. The liberation of the people of Israel from Egypt happened in the early morning. Jesus resurrected in the early morning. Paul and Silas were liberated from prison during the early morning. There is a pattern, and this pattern is not a coincidence. Neuroscience also corroborates this, though from a different perspective. During the early morning, the human brain enters the deepest phases of sleep, producing delta waves. It is in this state that the subconscious is most receptive. It is when revelatory dreams happen. It is when the mind processes intense emotional experiences and reorganizes thought patterns. Many people report having extremely vivid dreams at this time, dreams that seem more real than reality itself. And, from a spiritual perspective, these dreams are not random, they are messages. So when I say that God will remove the enemy from your life at 3 in the morning, I am saying that the revelation will arrive. It may be in a dream. It may be in a feeling of inexplicable peace. It may be in a name that comes to your mind with absolute clarity. It may be an unexpected call the next day bringing news that changes everything. It may be a message on WhatsApp that reveals someone's true face. It may be a catch in the act. It may be a confession. It may be a coincidence that you will realize is no coincidence at all. It is providence. The form may vary, but the essence is the same. God will open your eyes to see what you need to see. And here is something I need to highlight, because many people do not understand. The revelation is not always pleasant. Sometimes God reveals the truth in a way that hurts, because the truth truly hurts. Discovering that someone you trusted was betraying you hurts. Discovering that that friendship was self-serving hurts. Discovering that that family member spoke ill of you behind your back hurts. But this pain is different from the pain you feel when you live in a lie. The pain of truth heals. The pain of the lie kills slowly. But I need to be honest with you. This revelation demands something from you. It is not automatic. God acts, but you need to position yourself. And here is where many people fail. People want the blessing, but they do not want to prepare to receive it. They want liberation, but they continue opening the door to those who enslave them. They want the removal of the enemy, but they continue feeding the relationship with that person out of fear, guilt, or habit. Let me tell you a hard truth. Not every enemy is someone who hates you. Sometimes the enemy is someone you love, someone you are afraid of losing, even knowing that this person does you harm. It could be a close relative, it could be a friend of years, it could be a co-worker, it could even be someone from your own church. The spiritual enemy does not have the face of a villain. They have the face of a good person. That is why it is so difficult to identify them. And that is why God needs to intervene, because alone you would not be able to see. There is a concept in psychology called cognitive dissonance. It is when your brain maintains two contradictory beliefs at the same time to avoid the pain of truth. You know that person does you harm, but at the same time you find justifications to keep them close. Oh, but they are family. Oh, but we have been through so much together. Oh, but deep down they like me. These justifications are cognitive dissonance in action, and the divine revelation of 3 in the morning comes exactly to break this cycle, to give you the courage that your mind alone does not have. Now comes the most important part of this video. I will teach you 3 steps to prepare for this removal, and if you follow these steps seriously, I guarantee you, your life will never be the same. First step, the cleaning of the environment. Before God acts in the spiritual, you need to act in the physical. Look around your house. Is there any object that connects you to this person? A photo, a gift, a souvenir? I am not saying to throw it away out of anger. I am saying to remove it out of consciousness. Every object carries an energy. Science calls it emotional anchoring, a concept from neuro-linguistic programming. When you see that object, your brain automatically activates the emotions linked to that person, reinforcing the bond that needs to be broken. Clean your space, not out of superstition, out of emotional and spiritual intelligence. Second step, the information fast. During the next 3 days, cut contact with this person. If possible, cut even social media. Do not look at their profile. Do not ask for news of them from third parties. Do not send a message. This fast is not to punish anyone. It is for you to recover mental clarity. Research shows that the human brain takes at least 72 hours without negative emotional stimuli to begin restarting thought patterns. It is like restarting a frozen computer. If you keep clicking, it never unfreezes. Turn it off, wait, turn it on again. That is what you need to do with your mind. Third step, the 3 in the morning prayer. In the next early morning, set an alarm for 2:50. When you wake up, do not touch your phone. Do not look at news. Do not look at messages. Get up, wash your face with cold water. This activates the parasympathetic nervous system and helps calm the mind. And go to a quiet place in your house. It could be the living room. It could be the kitchen. It could be the backyard. It could be the bathroom, if it is the only silent place. God does not care about the place. He cares about the heart. At 3 o'clock sharp, begin to pray. It does not need to be an elaborate prayer. It does not need to be a beautiful prayer. It does not need to be a memorized prayer. Speak to God as if you were talking to someone who loves you unconditionally, because that is exactly what He is. Say, Lord, I am tired. I can no longer carry this weight, but I trust in Thee. Reveal to me who is against my destiny. Remove from my life everything that is not of Thy plan, and give me the courage to accept the truth, however painful it may be. I surrender, I deliver, I trust. Then, stay in silence for at least 10 minutes. Just listen. Pay attention to what comes to your mind, to what your heart feels, to what your intuition, which is nothing more than the voice of God within you, says. Do not force anything. Do not try to rationalize. Just be present. Because God speaks more in silence than in noise. If you follow these 3 steps, I want you to come back here in the comments and tell what happened, because I know something will happen. I know because I have seen this repeat hundreds of times. People who were at the bottom of the pit, who had already lost hope, who thought they would never smile again, and who, after a moment of true surrender, saw the hand of God act in ways that no human mind would be capable of imagining. I want to tell you one more story. A 55-year-old man, a merchant here in São Paulo, sought me out after watching a video similar to this one. He told me he had a partner who, for 10 years, diverted money from the company without him noticing. This partner was considered almost family. He went to the barbecues, patted him on the back, called him brother. But behind the scenes, he was destroying the assets that this man had taken a lifetime to build. When the truth came to light, and it came in the early morning during an insomnia that led him to check old documents, he said he felt as if a blindfold had fallen from his eyes. It hurt. It hurt a lot. But it was the pain that saved his life. Because after the partner was removed, the business recovered in 6 months what it had taken years to lose. He told me, with eyes full of water, "God did not give me what I asked for. He gave me what I needed." Are you feeling something now, this shiver, this tightness, this knot in your throat? Do not ignore it. It is the Holy Spirit confirming that this message is for you, that this moment is your moment, that your hour has arrived. But I need to warn you about something very important. When God begins to remove an enemy from your life, the process may seem chaotic at first. It may seem that things are getting worse before they get better. This is absolutely normal. In medicine, there is a concept called the healing crisis. It is when the body temporarily worsens before recovering from an illness. A simple example, when you start a strong antibiotic, in the first days you may feel more malaise than before. It is not because the medicine is doing harm. It is because it is killing the bacteria, and the body is reacting to this cleaning process. The same happens in the spiritual and emotional field. When God begins to tear out what is doing you harm, the pain may increase momentarily. You may feel profound loneliness, paralyzing fear, doubt about everything. People you thought were friends may distance themselves without explanation. Situations that seemed stable may seem to crumble. Doors that were open may close. But it is the crumbling of what was false so that what is true can be built upon a solid foundation. Do not give up in the middle of the process. I repeat, do not give up in the middle of the process. It is exactly when you want to stop that victory is closest. The darkest dawn is always the one that precedes the sunrise. A detail that few people know. When a spiritual enemy is removed from your life, the first signs usually appear in sleep. You may have dreams you haven't had in years. You may wake up in the early morning with a racing heart, but without fear, with a strange sense of hope. You may dream of clean water, of open roads, of doors opening. These are signs of spiritual liberation. Do not ignore them. Write down these dreams. They are direct messages from heaven to you. Another sign is the change in the behavior of the people around you. When the enemy begins to be removed, they react. The person may seek you out of nowhere, wanting to get close again. They may make promises they never kept before. They may try to manipulate you emotionally to regain access to your life. Stand firm. This is not repentance, it is strategy. When someone realizes they are losing control over you, they try to regain that control using your weaknesses. Generally, they appeal to guilt, to pity, or to the fear of loneliness. Do not fall into this trap. Recognize the pattern and maintain the decision. I know it may seem difficult. I know that cutting someone out of your life, especially someone who has been there for a long time, feels like an amputation, and in a certain sense it is. But there are amputations that save lives. A doctor does not remove a limb out of malice. They remove it so that the rest of the body survives. God does the same with the people who are poisoning your life. He does not remove them out of cruelty. He removes them out of love, because He looks at the whole. He sees what you cannot yet see, the future that awaits you without this weight on your back. Now I want to speak directly to you who are watching this video at 2 in the morning unable to sleep, to you who cried today and told no one, to you who are pretending that everything is fine, but inside are screaming for help. I want you to know, you are not alone. You have never been alone. And this night, this coming dawn, may be the last night of pain. Starting tomorrow, a new story begins. But you need to believe it. Not with the mind, with the heart. Faith is not an intellectual belief. Faith is a decision. It is deciding to trust even when everything around screams that it will not work. It is planting even when the soil seems dry. It is walking even when the path seems dark. It is thanking before receiving. It is praising before seeing the result. It is treating the promise as if it were already reality. And do you know what happens to those who decide to have faith? Science has a name for it: the positive expectation effect. When you truly believe that something good is going to happen, your brain begins to release neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin, which increase your motivation, improve your mood, and make you more capable of seeing opportunities that would previously go unnoticed. Studies done at major universities showed that patients who believed in healing had significantly higher recovery rates than those who did not believe, even while receiving the same treatment. This is not cheap positive thinking. It is neuroscience applied to faith. In other words, faith is not just spiritual. It is biochemical. When you decide to believe, your entire body reorganizes itself to attract what you expect. Your decisions change, your posture changes, your gaze changes, and consequently, the results change. So I'm going to make a final request of you. Before sleeping today, before closing your eyes, make this declaration out loud. I am a chosen child of God. No enemy has authority over my life. Every plan of evil against me is undone now. What is mine will reach me. What is not mine will be removed. And I receive this liberation with gratitude, with faith, and with courage. Speak this with conviction. Do not whisper, declare, because words have power. Quantum physics has already demonstrated that conscious observation alters the behavior of particles. If your attention changes matter at the subatomic level, imagine what your declaration of faith can do in the reality around you. Now, if this video made sense to you, I need you to do 3 things. First, comment below the time you are watching this video. I want to know how many people are receiving this message in the early morning, because when God wants to speak, He wakes people up. Second, share this video with someone you know is going through a difficult struggle. It can be by WhatsApp, it can be by direct, it can be in person. Sometimes God uses you as a messenger to reach another person. And third, subscribe to this channel and activate the notification bell, because this is only the first revelation. In the next videos, I will deepen these teachings even further and give you practical tools to shield your life spiritually. I want to close with a promise that is not mine. It is God's. It is in Isaiah chapter 54 verse 17. No weapon forged against thee shall prosper. None. Not gossip, not envy, not betrayal, not the lie, not the spiritual attack. No weapon. This is the guarantee of the Creator of the universe for your life, not for the life of another person. For yours. The enemy has already been identified. The removal process has already begun. And when you lie down tonight, when the clock marks 3 o'clock, remember, God is working in your favor in the silence of the early morning. Where no one sees, He acts. Where no one hears, He speaks. And where no one believes, He does the impossible. Your liberation is now. Receive it. If you feel that this is true for your life, comment I receive in the comments. And prepare yourself, because from now on, nothing will ever be as it was before. I will see you in the next video. And when we meet again here, I want to hear your testimony. I want you to tell me what happened after this dawn. I want you to share how God acted. Because every testimony that arrives here in the comments strengthens the faith of another person who is going through the same suffering. And if you are watching this video and feel that you are not yet ready for this change, that is fine. Do not pressure yourself. God is in no hurry. He is patient. But know that this message will remain recorded in your memory. And when the right moment arrives, and it will arrive, you will remember every word you heard here, because the seed has already been planted, and a seed planted in fertile ground always germinates. God is faithful. He always was. He always will be. And the proof of that is that He brought you here to this exact moment, to this second, to tell you, I have not forgotten you. Your hour has arrived. The enemy already has a name, and that name is about to be erased from your history. Receive this truth, live this truth, and never look back.